he referred to the their first meeting in Paris. This is the letter that Calder writes to Miró in 1928 at the recommendation of Elizabeth Hawes, that he is seeking to meet with Miró in Paris. And sure enough, they have that meeting, and I thought I would also bring in the recollection of that first meeting that is shared by Calder in 1961 in the catalog for the Calder Miró show at Pearl's Galleries. And I thought it's actually a really fun quote, because he's referring to how when he walked into the studio, Miró showed him a large sheet of cardboard with a postcard, a cork, and a feather attached to it, the image you see on your right. And he says, "I was puzzled." But then he goes on later to say, "I came to love his painting, his color, his personages." So how did he move between puzzlement and falling in love, Joan?
Well, that's true, because first of all, I have to say that in this moment of the 20th century, my grandfather was a groundbreaking pioneer trying to break through the Western tradition of landscape and figuration and really going into the dreamscapes to really minimize the elements to get the higher impact and the higher influence. And this is a moment in which he was saying, I would like to break Picasso's guitar. And he was saying that I want to assassinate painting. He was saying that painting was in decline since the age of caveman. So this is a man that is really making these huge, radical, iconoclast statements. And when your grandpa, man, showed up, he saw this, what's going on here?
Well, there's actually more to the story, because Babe Hawes, Babe was this great fashion designer. She was sort of self-funded. She was living in Paris and New York, and she had Calder make clasps and things for her garments. The collection was at the Brooklyn Museum. I think now it's turned over to the Met, her collection of fashion. But Calder showed up at Miro's studio in Paris, and he described it. There's a much better description than this letter. Later in his autobiography, he has many more words about this experience, and he talks about entering kind of a Quonset hut. You all know what a Quonset is, those military round buildings, those kind of tunnels. So it was like a tunnel, and the place was pretty much empty because he'd finished all these paintings, and there was a show in Berlin or something.
Brussels.
And Brussels, thank you. And so the paintings were gone, but these experiments, these Spanish dancer collages, this is not the one that Calder saw. The one that Calder saw, and my grandfather had an incredible memory, he described it as a picture postcard, a cork, a feather, a hat pin, and some dotted lines, like little dashed lines coming off it. It's never been identified, so it may have been destroyed during the war. The specific one, right? We don't really know, but Calder describes it very specifically. And he didn't say, I was puzzled. He said, it did not look like art to me. That is a lot different than, I was puzzled.
So this 1961 statement was ghostwritten. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's being more polite, but in his autobiography, he wrote what he was feeling and what he was thinking, and then this man became one of the closest humans on the planet to him, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.